Welcome back, everybody, as we broadcast you live from the Parliament in South Africa, and it is just, it's a new dawn today, I have to tell you. I mean, everybody that I've been speaking to is feeling very, very much so the same way. There's just a sense of a bit of a calmness here, because usually when we're doing these broadcasts, it seems everybody's very, very tense, and they've got to raise their issues and agendas, and they were going to be fighting, but I don't know, somehow it feels a little bit different. And I'm not just saying that when I talk about ANC members who we've spoken to, whether it be Jackson Mthembu or whether it be Baleka Mbete, the National Assembly Speaker. I'm now speaking to opposition parties that have been in the House all along. They've been watching, and they're feeling very, very much so the same way. So let's talk to them. First up is our Chief Whip of the Democratic Alliance, John Steenhuisen, and of course from the ACDP, we've got Steve Swart. Gentlemen, good to see you. Welcome to Morning Live.
Great to be with you and the viewers today. It's certainly a momentous occasion today.
I think so too. Steve, thank you very much as well.
Yes, Leanne, and it is, as you said, it's a new dawn. It's pregnant with hope, with expectation today. We're very excited. Prayers have been answered. God is on the move in our nation. Justice and righteousness will prevail.
You know, it's actually very difficult to hear this coming from your mouths. And I say that because the reason is purely down to our former President Jacob Zuma, because I know that all of you have been fighting for his removal. And yet it seems like you're supporting the opposition party now. Is it? Is it happening? And when I talk about the opposition party, I mean the ANC.
Well, I think we're all South Africans first, and we're members of our party second. And this is no endorsement of the ANC or endorsement of Mr. Ramaphosa. I think we're all very glad that we've finally been able to close the chapter on the Zuma years that have wreaked so much devastation and harm to our economy, to our people, and to our democracy. And so I think it's a sense of relief that that era has passed, and a sense that there may well be a new approach and a new start. And what's required in South Africa more than anything is a reset, a new beginning for South Africa.
Yeah. You know, Steve, I'll ask you, and I've been trying to get a little bit more, get a personal perspective from my guests this morning as opposed to our usual political stance and shouting. I just want to ask you on a personal note. I mean, sitting in the National Assembly when the President was in the House and seeing, and you being the opposition parties, I mean, what was it like when people were being thrown out, when people were being dragged over tables? How did it make you feel, especially as you position yourselves as a very Christian party?
Absolutely.
As well?
And I've been in Parliament almost 19 years, and it was very, very difficult. It's been a very, very difficult period in Parliament, but I believe there's been a shaking has been taking place in Parliament, in everything, and we've got a kingdom that will not be shaken. So yes, we had to go through that. It was character building, and we've persevered as a party. I've persevered, and we've seen, as we've prayed and as we've taken action to stand against corruption, to stand against inequities that were happening, we see our prayers answered, and it's exciting to see now this new dawn. And of course, Cyril, the new president, has got lots of challenges, but it's been very tough. Personally, it's been very tough, but I know I'm not here. This isn't just a job for me. It's a calling. I left law practice to come to be in Parliament to make a difference, and each one of us can make a difference as we seek the common good, as we seek to be good stewards and servant leadership, and that the new president emphasized yesterday. And we don't put a lot of hope in him. We trust in the Lord, but we are trusting for a new era and a new beginning, and we're prepared to give him that opportunity and to come alongside him and partner with him. It's been a very tough number of years, as the Chief Whip of the DA and ourselves from the ACDP have experienced, but we've persevered. It's been character building.
Yeah. John, let's talk about you, because you have stood up and said some things in that Parliament, and as well, I mean, some of your soliloquies have been some of the most watched pieces on YouTube, I have to be honest with you, and some people saying, wow, this is great. Now, honestly, before that, I'm not sure people that were that interested in Parliament would happen, it'd be very quiet and boring actually, but it didn't turn that way. Do you think people will start turning away from Parliament now if it gets too boring?
No, and I think what we're looking as the Democratic Alliance most forward to is moving beyond the personality politics. Mr. Zuma has sucked the oxygen out of Parliament, and it's been at great cost for the country, because we haven't been debating the issues. We haven't been debating the economy. How do we get the 9 million unemployed South Africans back to work? How do we get South Africa working again? What is the economic approach? How do we fix the education system? These are all debates that have suffered tremendously because the focus has been on Mr. Zuma Zuma and the corrupt crony circle around him. So we look forward to moving the debate back onto policies, ideas, and debating those in the House, and in making sure that we're putting South Africans first again. So we look forward to this post-Zuma era so that we can start debating these key areas and arenas.
I must say, and I think, I don't know if I'm speaking on behalf of all South Africans, but I know it got to a point where it was actually getting tiring, and you'd sort of think, okay, well, if we can't use Parliament as a serious platform where decisions are being made and taken and thoughts are being spoken about, instead people are being kicked out, and it's setting a bad example for South Africans and the youth that watch on and laugh and think, oh, is that the way we behave? But that hopefully is now a thing of the past. We can only hope, though.
Absolutely. And of course, the committees were operating. It was the plenaries that were being disrupted. And that was very sad, and people were saying this is a circus. But our committees were operating so efficiently, and I just want to commend all my colleagues on the Eskom Inquiry, the public enterprises, where we've stood under massive pressure. The MPs' lives across the board have been threatened, our witnesses have been threatened, and many of the ANC members weren't sure how it was going to shift with December, whether they'd still have a job, because they took such a strong stance against state corruption, against state capture. And we now see the shift taking place, and there's a sigh of relief. Let us continue to fight for justice and righteousness and to expose the corruption that is taking place. So there has been a lot of good work that's been taking place, but we see a new era, and we're prepared to come alongside new President Cyril Ramaphosa and to assist him for the good of the nation and the good for the future of our nation, because people are crying out for hope. They're desperate for hope, and that we believe we two together today, hopefully he will bring that message of hope and set a path going forward. We'll still be very watchful from an oversight perspective, but we are looking for that wonderful scripture that says hope deferred makes a heart sick, but a want fulfilled is a tree of life. And that is what our nation is looking for at this stage.
All right, Steve, thank you very much for talking to us. John, I'm going to leave the final word with you, because there's a big worry as well. And I imagine from the DA's perspective that you're going to lose some votes now, because a lot of the times people speak about the fact that South Africans stayed away from the polls, and particularly ANC supporters who weren't happy with what they were seeing. DA voters obviously went out and voted. But now the tide has changed. Are you guys worried?
But no, I don't think we're worried, but it is a game changer. Mr. Ramaphosa is a game changer for South African politics, but it's going to mean we can all have to sharpen our game, up our game. But we're looking forward to it, because I think that we must dispel this myth that one man's going to change the world. Mr. Ramaphosa still leads the ANC. It's the ANC that have supported, aided and abetted and protected Mr. Zuma. Mr. Zuma didn't develop these policies on his own. Mr. Zuma's cabinet is still made up of ANC members. It's the same ANC on these benches. So it's going to be interesting to see whether he can really transform his party. I think it's going to be a big ask, and I think that, while we're all excited about the closure of the Zuma years, if we want real change in South Africa, it's our view that what's required is a new government, and that's why we're so keen to put our stall before the nation. And we believe that the only new deal in South Africa is a deal that the DA can offer the Republic of South Africa.
All right, John, thank you so much for talking to us. John Steenhuisen, of course, is the Chief Whip of the Democratic Alliance. We take a break. See you after this.